Next, we will review the CMS review and approval process in more detail within Mac Pro. Today's system demonstration will cover the steps that we just reviewed within the CMS workflow. Note that we are going through the approval or happy path workflow. Additionally, we will discuss how to initiate a clarification request, known as an unlock in MMDL, and RAI, also known as Request Additional Information. Once the submission package is submitted to CMS, the CMS Point of Contact, CPOC, assigns the Submission Review Team members, SRT, to review the submission package. The CPOC then assigns a milestone date, which is an internal due date for the CMS Review Team. Let's move into the Mac Pro training environment to take a look at this process. We will get started by logging into Mac Pro as a CMS Point of Contact. We are working in the training environment today, and therefore, the information that you see during this training is arbitrary, only being used for training purposes. Additionally, we are going to be using the state of Missouri, but this is not a reflection of Missouri or their Medicaid state plan information in any way. We will assume that the state point of contact just submitted an official submission package to CMS. CMS points of contact associated with that state receive an email notification letting them know that there is a new submission and a task in their to-do list. We are now logged in as a CMS point of contact assigned to Missouri to take a look at this submission. I'd also like to point out that if you have previously used Mac Pro, the screens you see during today's presentation may be cosmetically different to reflect recent system updates. When you first log into Mac Pro, you are taken to your Actions tab on the upper toolbar. The upper toolbar is important for general navigation within Mac Pro, and each tab serves a different purpose. The Actions tab is for initiating new actions, such as viewing implementation guides. Let's explore the other options on the upper toolbar before we get started. To begin, select News on the upper toolbar. This is a location that provides general status updates on packages and can be used for informal communication about packages between different Mac Pro users. This page operates similarly to a social media platform. By clicking in the text box located at the top of the page, you can write a post for your team, send a message to an individual, send a social task to an individual, or recognize someone by providing them kudos. These features are informal ways to communicate with other Mac Pro users within CMS. They are not a part of the official record of review and should not replace your official communication. Additionally, activities related to packages you are working with or are following are listed for your reference. Then, there's a Tasks tab, which is where specific actions as part of the workflow will populate for you to work on. Tasks are activities that need to be completed to keep the package moving through the workflow, such as reviewing a submission package. Then, you'll notice that there is a Records tab. This is where you can go to reference submission packages that are complete or in progress. Finally, there is the Reports tab, which can be used for tracking different activities within Mac Pro. We will explore each tab in further detail throughout this training. While we are looking at the upper toolbar, let's hover over the icon in the upper right-hand corner. I'd like to point out the training CPOC text box that appears. This is what we are using during training as our first and last name. When you log in, you'll see your first and last name populated here. In order to start on our task, let's select Task on the upper toolbar. As I just mentioned, the Task tab includes tasks that we could complete as a CMS point of contact for the state of Missouri. The first step that the CMS point of contact, or CPOC, takes with a submission package is to assign the reviewable units to a CMS submission review team, or SRT members. Please note that the links to these submission packages are identified by the package ID. The package ID consists of a two-letter state abbreviation, the year, the authority, in this case MS for Medicaid State Plan, an automatic number assignment, and the letter O for official or D for draft. Let's select Assign Reviewable Units to SRTs with the package ending in 4468E. Please note that if there are multiple CPOCs assigned to the same state, then you must accept the task to remove it from the general queue. We will select Accept from the blue banner at the top of the screen. Before we assign submission review team members, we will scroll through the list of reviewable units or RUs to acquaint ourselves with the information included in this submission. Each section of a submission package is known as a reviewable unit. There are submission reviewable units with every submission package. Then, there will be program-specific reviewable units for administration and eligibility. Next, we will click on the first reviewable unit link, the submission summary. Let's scroll down and expand the submission type field by selecting the plus or minus button in the right corner of the screen. You will notice two items. First, when CMS receives a submission package for review, the information is in a read-only mode. Second, this is an official submission package. States can submit two different types of submission packages to CMS. We will also be presenting this information when we return to PowerPoint. An official submission package is used when the state is prepared to submit to CMS. This starts the 90-day regulatory clock. CMS may review, approve, implement RAI, or request clarification on an official submission package. The state may allow CMS to view the information in the submission package during the editing processes informally by using the Allow CMS to View functionality. This may be used, for example, if the state has a specific question while they are working on the package and wants to run it by CMS prior to submission. The second option is a draft submission package. The state may allow CMS to view a draft submission package when significant feedback is required prior to starting the 90-day regulatory clock. It is suggested to states to initially submit complex Medicaid State Plan submission packages and new targeted amendments as draft submission packages. CMS may review but cannot approve, disapprove, or implement an RAI. CMS will return the draft submission package to the state with feedback. If the state chooses to edit the submission package, the state must resubmit the draft to CMS off the regulatory clock. Alternatively, if the state chooses not to edit the draft package, it can be closed, converted to an official package, and submitted to CMS as an official submission package on the 90-day clock. Let's now return to the summary page by scrolling up and selecting All Reviewable Units, located under the SRT User Search section. The CPOC can then assign one or more SRT members to each reviewable unit. Before we show you how to utilize the search, let's hear a quick note from Stephanie Bell from CMS.
Thanks, everybody. So we have, as part of the SOP that I mentioned earlier, you will find information how to assign the SRT members. And the SRT is going to be similar to who reviews a SPA today in either MMDL or through the paper-based process. And so for Medicaid MAGI-based eligibility SPAs, for instance, if you go into the SOP, it'll take you to a link with a list of all of our staff here in the Division of Eligibility and Enrollment and who is the subject matter experts for each reviewable unit. And that will tell you who to assign as the SRT members. So the SRT will include the CPOC as well as the subject matter expert here and the TD for that subject area. So let's keep going. Thanks.
Thanks, Stephanie. There are two ways in which a CPOC can assign SRTs to reviewable units for review. First, you may wish to utilize the SRT user search feature. This might be a convenient option if you are looking to add an SRT to every RU at once. We will type the first name training in the first name field and SRT in the last name field. Then, we will select the Filter Users button towards the bottom right. A list of SRTs will appear in a results table, and we will check the box next to Training SRT. Since the table will present all SRTs that match your search criteria, it is important to pay attention to the Authority column to ensure that the SRT you select has the appropriate attributes to review a Medicaid state plan amendment for eligibility and administration. Also, since we are in the training environment, the names you see will reflect training names such as Training SRT. When you enter MacPro, the list will display actual names of users. When selecting a checkbox next to the appropriate SRTs from the SRT results table, the system will expand a checkbox column to the left reviewable units table below that. The CPOC now has the option to assign the SRT to all RUs at once, or select specific RUs to add the SRT to. If we check the box next to the Submission Summary RU, and then select the Assign to Selected RUs button, this will assign the selected SRT to only the Submission Summary RU. However, for this training, we will assign the selected SRT to all RUs by choosing Assign to All RUs. This will populate the selected SRT in each reviewable unit field. The second way to assign SRTs to reviewable units for review is to type their name in each individual reviewable unit field. CPOCs have the option to search by first name, last name, or username. For this example, we will begin to type the first name, Help Desk, in the Submission Public Comment Reviewable Unit field. Upon typing Help Desk, all names relevant to the search criteria will appear in a menu. We will select Help Desk CMS SRT. Again, this is a training example. Help Desk is a user's first name, and CMS SRT is a user's last name. Please keep in mind that although the CPOC's name does not appear in the reviewable unit fields, the CPOC is automatically assigned to each reviewable unit as part of the review team. Assigning multiple SRTs to each RU is up to the discretion of the CMS Point of Contact. If an SRT user needs to be removed from a reviewable unit, you may do so by clicking the X next to their name. We will remove the user we just added, Helpdesk CMS SRT. At this point, I will pause for a brief note from CMS.
Thanks. So before I say anything, please, if you have questions now, go ahead and submit them in the chat box, and we'll try to get to them as we're going through the demonstration. So the thing I want to note here is, again, mentioning the SOP. So that will have information on which individuals you should assign as SRT members. And really, they're there won't be much reason to remove an SRT member after they've already been assigned unless they move on to a different role or they leave CMS or they're doing something else.
All right, sounds good, Stephanie. We'll move forward. The CPOC will then scroll down and set the milestone date. The milestone date is an internal due date for this task that helps keep the review within the 90-day regulatory clock. As per guidance from CMS, the milestone date is typically day 10 on the clock. The review team members will receive a 3-day warning notification as the milestone date approaches. If the milestone date passes, the submission review team users will be alerted. The task will remain in the SRT's task list, but it will be noted that it is overdue. In addition, the CPOC does have the option to edit the milestone date. The milestone date is an internal due date, but does not affect the 90-day regulatory clock. The milestone date applies to all RUs in a package, and therefore, only one date can be set for the review period. If you click in the box, a calendar will appear. For this demonstration, we will choose September 1st, 2017. There is a text box labeled Instructions. This is where the CPOC can provide instructions for the submission review team members. Consider this the temporary post-it note attached to the package you would be placing on your colleague's desk. We will type, "Please review the assigned eligibility RUs" as instructions for the SRT members. After reviewable units have been assigned to the SRT members and the milestone date has been set and optional instructions have been entered, the CMS Point of Contact will select the button labeled Assign Reviewable Units. A message will pop up asking if the user wants to assign the reviewable units. Select the button labeled Yes. Let's return to the PowerPoint to review the steps we will take as a CMS submission review team or SRT member.
As you're going back to the PowerPoint, I'm going to jump in here for a minute to say two quick things about the milestone and the analyst notes, and that is the milestone is kind of a new feature to our work, and it will allow us to set reminders. So when the CPOC puts in the SRT members, they can set a milestone for 10 days out, and then MacPro will give reminders to everyone that they need to have completed their review. And hey, there's only 3 days left until the milestone. Make sure you've done, you'll get an email message reminding you to go in and get to your review. So it allows us to help prompt everyone to keep the spa moving. And then the notes that you can put in when you're assigning are a good place to note, you could put what's in the spa. So when you assign the SRT members, you could say this is the state is making a change to their eligibility group for pregnant women, for example. So people would know what they're getting. And Sophia is here with me as well, and she's going to say a word about the CPOC.
Sure, thank you. And just on the review notes, good afternoon, everyone. This is Sofia Hinojosa from the Denver Regional Office. I wanted to highlight on the review notes, since MacPro becomes the system of record for all the state plan amendments we approve, you are able to select who you want to send notes to. So you could write notes to self or notes to someone else in your review team or also to the state. And then MacPro saves that information for CMS review. Since as all of you know, we keep the entire record for many legal purposes of all the information and assessment that CMS performs on reviewing state plan amendments. So I wanted to highlight that. And also because we see we have a number of people on the line from regional offices. So thank you everyone for attending. We have a big group here in central office and lots of people from all the regions. We wanted to highlight for you that right now you are viewing the CMS Point of Contact CPOC role. And we wanted to remind you that for the Medicaid MAGI eligibility, as well as the administration state plan amendments, the regional office staff will be the CPOCs for all those spots. As many of you recall, because you have dual roles also in reviewing health home state plan amendments that were released in MACPRO last year. For health home state plan amendments, we also made the decision that the regional office analyst would be the CPOC for all spots. And as a reminder, if you're a CPOC, you're automatically an SRT. The same for MAGI and administration spots. So in the slides right now and in the demonstration, for CPOC, think CPOC, regional office lead analyst for the review, and then SRTs, our submission review team members, would be our central office, our CMPS experts for all these amendments. We have those, the regional office CPOCs would select health home SRTs for those amendments, for these new amendments that are going into MACPRO next Monday. The regional office CPOCs will be also selecting our CMCS subject matter experts as SRTs. So just highlighting that as you go through the slides and listen to the demonstration today. Thank you, Stephanie.